Welcome back to another Spilldrop video. Today I'm going to be showing you a number of super module designs inspired by the open core loot rooms that I've seen from other content creators and in my own experiences playing Rust. Typically these designs feature about a 1.5 high square design, though not all of these modules are going to be a full 1.5 high room. Before we get into it, YouTube has told me that about 2/3 of the people who watch these videos are not subscribed to the Spilldrop channel, so if you like these videos, then consider subscribing, and it will make sure that you get an alert when my next video is published. There are a couple of new Spilldrop channels out on YouTube. Right now I've got a brand new Skyrim video. You can check it out at Spill RPG or by typing in Spilldrop RPG in the search bar. Without further ado and no more yappage, we're going to jump straight into the first super module design. For this module, I wanted to design a tool cupboard room that took advantage of additional storage space for these small boxes, primarily because I know many of the Rust players out there have purchased the skins for these small boxes that allow you to label what items are being stored in each box. Now, with a lot of my other tool cupboard rooms using these really space efficient barrels or baskets, you don't have the opportunity to label what's going to be in each box. So it can be pretty hard to know what you're looking at when you're looking into a loot room like this. That's why with this design, I went ahead and went with something that was a little bit less ideal in terms of storage space and focused on something that would allow me to include this full upper ring of shelves and small boxes so you can individually label these boxes as you see fit. To make this work, I started by placing these low wicker barrels up on top of this half-high bamboo shelf and pulled them a little bit further away from the wall just so there was enough room to place this shelf. Once you've placed the floating bamboo shelf, it should be about flush with the top of the wicker baskets, and then you can place those small boxes up on top. As you can see, you can fit less of the wicker baskets on this standing shelf as a result, because it does push the wicker baskets away from both the side and back wall. But even so, you've still got 7 large boxes worth of storage and then 6 small boxes worth of storage due to the ring of small boxes up around the top there, and all of this fits very neatly behind the garage door, so anybody looking in from the outside wouldn't necessarily know what they were looking at through this door. Not exactly the most ideal tool cupboard room. Navigation is a little tricky. You're not really going to have enough room for more than one person, so keep that in mind if this is a design that you plan on using for any group larger than just yourself. Moving on clockwise here, we're going to take a look at this tier 1 module we've got. As you can see, this design has room for the tier 1, the engineering workbench, and a research table, as well as 4 total weapon racks, 3 barrels, a large box underneath the research table, and 3 small boxes down along the floor. So quite a good amount of storage. There's also a small battery here for the weapon racks. However, on this server, sometimes the nodes just don't really work on these guys. I don't know what the deal is there, but I really enjoy this module. I think it's easy to navigate. There's not much use for this beyond tier 1 gameplay, so this is definitely a module that I'd recommend evolving as you go. But for a starter base or something that you're just kind of like living out of for the time being, this is a pretty cool way to store all of these items and still have a ton of utility. Moving on here, we've got a bedroom design. Quite a lot of storage up top, as you can see. We're looking at 12 small boxes, all with their little adapters. Down below, we've got 2 barrels and 3 additional small boxes, as well as a barbecue grill, 2 of these low-tier weapon racks, a repair bench for reskinning and for repairing any items you may need, as well as, of course, a bed. I think this is a pretty cool bedroom module, if not a little bit more crowded than I would like. Primarily what I was looking for with this design is to find a way to use the half-high bamboo bamboo shelf with a bed stacked on top of it because I just like the idea of kind of stacking those items up, creating sort of like a loft bed situation here and still having the utility from all these items up above. Moving on, we have a mixing room. This is going to have 2 mixing tables down below with a tier 2. 2 of the industrial auto crafters on the tier 2 as well for making meds and ammo, which you can pull required materials out of these mixing tables for those recipes. We also have 8 small boxes in this design and 3 barrels up top. The last small box that you can't really see is down here between these 2 mixing tables. Float down here with the no clip, you can kind of see how those are placed. I have this one sandwiched between the 2 tables so you can still access it from out here. It's a little tricky sometimes to reach, but if you look down in that gap, you should get a pretty good shot at it. I've also included some industrial conveyors here, as this is intended to be an automated module. Aside from actually setting up the automation myself, I wanted to include locations for a lot of the conveyors in these designs in case you were wondering where those could fit in. Also up here in the corners, pretty good spots for conveyors if you're looking for additional placements. Before we get into my favorite module of the day, if you've liked what you've seen so far, I would greatly appreciate it if you left a like on the video. It means so much to me and it really helps YouTube share these videos with other folks who might enjoy these super modules, and that really helps the channel grow. Now, back to the super modules. Moving on to definitely my favorite module of the video, we have this fantastic storage room. The reason that we're using boxes instead of the barrels is because I know quite a lot of players, myself included, have spent a good amount of money on skins that will help you identify which items are in which boxes. If you're using large boxes or small boxes to display these skins and have a little bit of an easier time identifying what is stored where, then this is a really great loot room design to be able to do that. You've got large boxes up top, 3 of them up here, 2 small boxes, a bunch of conveyors, and then down in the primary module down here we've got 4 of these large boxes down below. The answer to the question, how the heck did I manage to get all of these adapters to fit in here, is trial and error. It took me a long time to get all of these placements perfectly so that these adapters would all fit, and the snapping tool won't really do it the way that you want. Above those 4 boxes, down at the very bottom, we have 2 sets of shelves, 2 boxes on each shelf for a total of 12 small boxes down here. That brings the overall total storage to 14 small boxes and 7 large boxes. Quite a substantial amount of storage in this small space. Again, you may be able to get more storage out of the vertical and horizontal barrels. They're pretty great in terms of compact storage and pretty hard to beat, but a design like this allows you to use the neon box skins, some of the other labeled box skins, so that way you can identify exactly what is happening in each loot room. You're going to get much more information using the skinned boxes than you will from the regular default barrels, and hopefully we'll get some barrel skins here soon to kind of help with that as well. Moving on to our final module for the video, we're looking at a pretty standard barrel loot room. Down below we've got 4 barrels worth of storage, 3 small boxes, and a campfire. Slightly above that we have 3 more barrels here, a bunch of adapters just pretty much anywhere I could fit them. And then up top we've got 2 more barrels and 2 more small boxes. The real trick with this module that kind of sets it apart from many loot rooms that you'll see with this same design is that I've incorporated the triangular rooms off to the side to give you a couple of options for ways that you can stash loot that will be a little more secure off of your main loot rooms. With this design we've got these horizontal barrels off on either side. For this side we've got a single door frame which allows you to get a lot more access to this barrel and its nodes than the window side over here, which is actually incredibly hard to access, and it's very tough to get to the nodes on this barrel. So the window may not be your best bet unless you're trying to make this very, very difficult to loot. Of course, The upper barrels on both sides are very accessible, but that is kind of my evolution of the standard barrel-based loot room. A few more options to kind of vary the way that you lay out your open core designs, or give you the opportunity to stash loot that can then transfer from one module to the other without having to come out here into the open core itself. Again, if you haven't already, go and check out my newest video on the Spilldrop RPG channel. It's a really fun Skyrim video, and if it's something that you like, consider subscribing so that way you can see the future updates and videos. Anyway, thank you again for watching another Super Modules video. This has been your friend Spilldrop, and I will catch you in the next one.